In this video, I'm going to be teaching you my volume profile trading model. Now this model has two parts to it. So we have failed auction setup and also a breakout setup. So this video is going to be a bit lengthy because I'm going to go over the volume profile first, what exactly it is. And then I'm going to go over the strategy that I use during Asia session live in the Discord every single day. So I just tested this strategy out on a brand new Epix account. So first I got it passed. And then on the funded account, I'm up by like 6K. Okay, so this is like I'm just testing the strategy out, right? And it is just absolutely insane. And I'm going to teach you the entire strategy for absolutely free. Now, it doesn't mean that I've stopped trading ICT. I still trade ICT, but I believe that I've taught you everything about ICT at this point. And now I want to teach you something new, because if this resonates with you and if this feels easier to you, you can use this and just stop trading ICT. Okay, you don't really have to use ICT if it's not working for you. That makes sense, right? So the volume profile model, failed auction setup and breakout setup. But first, we need to understand what exactly is volume profile. So first thing first, what you want to do is go over here on your trading view, choose forecasting and measurement tools, click here and choose fixed range volume profile. Now draw it out anywhere on the chart like this, and then double click on it, go to inputs and change the row size to 1000 and make sure the value area volume is at 70. Then go to styles and make sure you turn them on: value area high, value area low, and point of control. Make sure you can you can also change the colors of them if you like, just like I've did. So that's what the volume profile is going to look like. Okay, now this right here, this histogram is volume. Okay, so around this area we had the highest volume from this period till this period. Okay, so this is the highest volume point, and that is called point of control, and that is annotated by this orange line. The most volume transacted within this range was around here. And at the point of control, we're going to see price consolidate a lot, okay? Because around this level, the highest node, this is like the high volume node, okay? That's what we call it. And around this level, the participants in the market are considering this level to be fair. So when a level is fair, it's not going to do much, okay? So this is point of control. And the volume, and this right here up here is value area high, and this is value area low, right? So anything that is in between the value area high and value area low is around 70% of the volume. 70% of the volume for this entire range was traded in this box. Anything that is above the value area high and anything that is below the value area low is around 15% here and 15% here. So the lowest volume was transacted here. Now, the usual rule of thumb is, first thing first, the price is going to consolidate around the point of control, and also price is a magnet for point of control. So price will eventually target and move and come back towards the point of control. Now, what exactly are value area low and value area high levels? So the price that is here in between the value area high and value area low, the participants are happy that the price, with this price, okay? They're happy that we are within this balance. But as soon as price goes below the value area low in this case, right? Price will go in a discovery mood, and it will try to break out of this volume profile, okay, of this level, off of the value area low. Now, what is a failed auction setup? Okay, now I'm teaching you some basics at the moment, but I'm gonna go over the exact trading strategy, exact criteria, and everything. So make sure you watch till the end, guys, because I'm gonna make this as detailed as possible, so you don't have to watch any other YouTube video. Okay, so let's mark it out like this: value area low, like this. Cool. Now, a failed auction setup is when we break out to the downside below the value area low, and then we come back and reclaim that level. So we broke below it, closed below it, and then we had a reclaim, so we closed back above. That is a failed auction setup. Okay, that's what we call failed auction. Price broke out of the value area low to discover new prices, but the passive buyers stepped in, or aggressive buyers stepped in, and they pushed the price up, and they were like, nope, we're gonna still push the price up. This range was best for us, so we're not gonna let you sell more. I hope that makes sense, because I'm making it so easy, so even like a 5 years old kid can understand, right? Now, what exactly is a breakout setup? So these are the basics, right? We have a failed auction setup where price goes below the value area low, and then we have a reclaim. So first a close below, and then a reclaim. And then also a liquidity sweep down there is also like an extra confluence that you can use. Okay, I also combine ICT with this as well. Okay, I look for CISD to get a better entry. I use this auto block and everything. Okay, this was the failed auction setup. Now, what exactly is a breakout setup? So when you have a volume profile drawn out like this, you can mark out the value area low and value area high. Now, notice what happened here. So we broke out above the value area high, and when we came back and retested this level, we failed to reclaim this level. And then we proceeded to break another structure over here. That is your first confirmation that this could be a breakout to the upside. And there's some extra confirmation here as well. So if we keep breaking structure to the upside, and then we had a rejection at the retest of the value area high, that is your failed auction setup. Now, what if I told you that there is a way to enter somewhere around here, okay, or here as well? And that is by using absorption and follow through model. And I'm going to go over that later on in the video, but that's exactly what the volume profile is. It shows you the volume, right? This is the highest peak. This is the lowest volume, and anything below the value area low is lowest, and anything above the value area high is lowest. Okay, so when we are above, so for example, when we are below the value area low, right, and we see rejection, we get a reclaim. The first low hanging fruit in this case would be the point of control, because for price, the point of control is the magnet. So if we reclaim the value area low that was broken, price will first go towards the point of control, and there's a chance that it can keep pushing down. So ideally, you want to go break even here, and then you can target the value area high. Okay, now if I remove this, you can see that we had multiple breaks to the downside. So first break over here, we got a reclaim, and then we had a push up. We then came back and closed below the value area low once again, and also we had liquidity sweep. So we tried breaking below the value area low, but every time price reclaimed this value area low, and that was a failed auction setup, failed auction setup, failed auction setup, right? Failed auction setup over here. And then we had a reclaim, and this was the final push to the upside, and then price just broke out aggressively, okay, like this. So now let's go over the exact trading strategy, okay, that I've been using for the Asia session, but you can also use it for every session, to be honest. It's just how the market moves. And also I'm going to give you a secret way to identify your daily bias later on at the end of the video. So make sure you stick around till the end, because you do not want to miss out on that. So let's move on to the actual strategy now. All right, guys. So this one is a failed auction setup strategy. Okay, I'm going to go with the breakout strategy later on in the video, but this is how to trade the failed auction setup. So the new daily candle opens at 18 or 6 p.m. New York time. So make sure your time zone is set to New York on TradingView. So go over here, fixed range volume profile, and draw it out like this. Okay. Now make sure that it is a developing volume profile. Okay. So usually when you have a volume profile, it's not considering this price action. It's not like adding this price action into the volume profile. It's just going to measure till you draw it. Okay. So if I draw it out till here, it's only going to look at the volume around this level. But what we need is you double click on it and extend right. So now it's going to keep on building the volume profile till the end of the day. Now, at this level, you can clearly see we had one failed auction setup here where we closed above and then we closed back below. Okay. And that is a setup that I actually took live with the Discord members. So what you want to do is, again, draw it out from 18, okay, as soon as the new day opens, and then you want to let the volume profile develop for the next 30 minutes. So you can look for trades after 19, okay? And you can start looking for trades after 19. So what happens here, guys? We have the value area high, value area low, and the point of control. So around this level, we had a failed auction setup. How is that? So first, we close above it. And also, I'm taking my entries on the 5 minute. I'm looking on the 5 minute. I'm not even looking at the 1 minute. I look at the 1 minute to spot absorption. And I'm going to go over that later on in the video. So first criteria, guys. Once we have the volume profile set, we need the 5 minute candle to first close above the value area high or value area low. So in this case, we close above, right? That is step one. Step two is that we need immediately to price close below the value area low. So close up and then immediately close below. That is going to be a short position. Yes, you heard that right. You're going to put your stop right above this high, or if you want to be extra safe, you can put it above these highs. So the next thing is targeting. So first, you're going to target the point of control, okay? Or you could target the value area low down there, and that would give you 2 risk reward ratio. And then we have another setup forming here. So what exactly happens here? We have liquidity. So first of all, we close below the value area low, okay, of the developing volume profile of the day. We also swept this low, okay? And then notice how the point of control and the value area low are together, almost together. So I'm not going to take an entry here because we closed above the value area low. But since the point of control is very close to the value area low, I'm going to wait for a close above the, the point of control as well. And I'm going to target a real quick 1-to-1, okay? Because we're going to always target the value area high. We're not looking for high numbers. So price goes and hits the TP, okay? So as now you can see that on the replay mode, by the way, the volume profile kind of like struggles, okay? The developing volume profile, by the way. So you have to test it out during live, okay? Because it kind of like misbehaves. For example, this is the real volume profile, but if I go here, right, and if I click on like the forward button, it's just gonna behave abnormally, and it's not normal. So it's gonna settle after like you give it like 5 seconds or so, like that, okay? So don't be like weirded out by this. Just give it like 5 seconds until it settles down like this. So now the second confirmation is that I look for absorption of buyers, and I'm gonna go over exactly what exactly is absorption, okay? Now, I look at level 2 data for this using like Orderflow tools, but don't worry because I always have a solution for you. Fear not because Faz SMC is here for you. Now, even though it may not be that accurate, what I'm about to show you, it still works. And the members use it as well, and it works phenomenally for them, okay? So you want to go here to indicators and type in absorption bubbles by Profit Pro Trading. Use this indicator, right? And then once you have used this indicator, this is what it's going to look like. Then you go here to the settings and make sure these are your settings. And also you can disable the bar color over here. Now, when we were above here, when we closed on the 5 minute time frame here, I would drop down to 1 minute time frame. This is where we closed, right? This is where we closed. Now, what is absorption, guys? So first thing first, these green bubbles that you see are aggressive buying volume. Now, this is not like level 2 volume that you're seeing here, okay? But it still works. It's using the trading view volume and also the exchanges volume. So you see these green bubbles, right? That's aggressive buying. So when aggressive buying comes in, you're expecting price to go up, right? But what is absorption? When you have, let's suppose, price is at a key level, which is the value area high over here, above the value area high, right? Key level, right? And then you see price doing this, where at the key level, for example, we sweep this high, right? That is a key level. And we see aggressive green bubbles here. Buying, right? Aggressive buys, aggressive buys, aggressive buys, aggressive buys, aggressive buys. But price is not giving a follow through, meaning there are aggressive buying going on, but price is not moving higher. That means that they are being absorbed by passive sellers. What are passive sellers? Passive sellers are sell limit orders. These are market orders, and a limit order is going to absorb everything. Okay, so price will go here and it's going to keep pushing down. So that is absorption, guys. So when you have aggressive buying but no follow through, all right, so for example here, we have aggressive buys at this candle high. You can see clearly, but there's no follow through. And then sellers come in and the buyers are absorbed. So you can wait for price to inverse these aggressive buys, right? If we have a fair value gap, we close below, although I wouldn't wait for, okay, so this is the complete model, right? Absorption on the 1 minute above the value area high, and then a 5-minute closure below the value area high. Okay, so absorption around here on the 1 minute, and then we wait for a 5-minute closure below. Now, same thing happened here. First, we need a 5-minute closure above, and then 5-minute closure below. Okay, not 1 minute closure. Okay, guys, please make sure you know that. So over here, we have a 5-minute closure as well. So now, if you're looking for a failed auction setup, we should drop down to 1 minute time frame and look for absorption of sellers. So what exactly is happening here? We have aggressive sellers coming in. We have a sweep of this low below the value area low. That is a key level. When we see these aggressive sells, there's no follow through. Price is not continuing to push down. We have aggressive sells, but then immediately we have aggressive buys coming in. So these sellers are absorbed by a buy limit order of a whale or a big player or a big institution. So when we see this absorption, we then simply go to the 5-minute time frame, and that's where we have a close above the value area low, right? And in this case, this entry here, you would wait, take a long here, put your stops here, maybe go break even at the point of control. That's what I do. And then you can hold till here. Okay, that is a failed auction setup, guys. Developing volume profile, we look for failed auction setups, and bam and bam. But it doesn't mean that price will break out of the value area low and it will go up all the time. And that's where the breakout setup comes in. And there is a way to identify the breakout setups. And I'm going to teach you each and everything for absolutely free in this video. Now, there's one more thing that I need to talk about regarding the breakout setup, okay? And that is like an A+ setup that you can use. So when the developing volume profile is building, you want to mark out the lowest point below the value area low and the highest point above the value area high. Those are your liquidity zones. So if we sweep that low, this high, and then we close below the value area high, that is A+ failed auction setup, okay? So if we skip a bar ahead, just give it like 5 seconds to settle down, and then you're going to see that we keep pushing up, right? So let's just wait for price to give us something here. Let's give it 5 seconds, see if it settles down. Okay. Now, we are above the value area high, and we have these green bubbles here. Aggressive buys going on, right? So let's see if we get a close below the value area. Okay, so we continue pushing up, right? So we continue pushing up. We have a break over here as well. So let's give this 5 more seconds, see what's going on. And we can see that it keeps building on, right? And at one point, price starts to reverse. So give it like 5 seconds. Okay, so we have this volume profile now. So what exactly happened here? Let me just go here real quick. Now, we were below the value area low, and we see absorption of sellers, right? So now there's more absorption, a lot of aggressive sells coming in at the key level here, right? And then eventually, at one point, we get a reclaim of that value area low. And we also closed above these aggressive sells. So that is going to be your long position. And also you're going to target the point of control and also the value area high. So let's see how this plays out. And bam, right there, price just kept pushing up. Okay, that is a failed auction setup. Now later on in the video, I'm going to also show you how you can build your bias and also how you can mark out some key levels below the value area low and below the value area, above the value area high. So if you're still here and watching this video, please hit that like button. And if you have left this video, I don't know what to tell you, bro, because you have an attention span of a TikToker. I'm trying my best to explain each and everything in this video. I'm trying to give you the indicators that actually work. So let's move on to the breakout setup now and how you would trade it. So let's go. All right, guys. So here is the breakout setup strategy. Okay. So this is the developing volume profile of the day. So you started from like 18 and you leave it there till the end of the day. Okay. So if this is what the volume profile looks like at the moment, right? This is what it looks like. So we have price action around this area. So we have the point of control where the most amount of volume was transacted, and you can say, okay, we had some failed auction setups along the way. So we have the value area low, the least volume level where we had failed auction setups, bam, 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 right? So how would you trade the breakout setup? At this current moment, this is a balanced price, okay? And participants are happy. And anything that goes below the value area low, in this case, is not accepted lower, okay? So price goes into discovery mode and it is rejected to the upside towards the point of control or the value area high. And similarly over here, we have a breakout above the value area high, but immediately we get a failed auction setup and we push down, right? So this is the balance. Now, what if price breaks below the value area low? Right? Let's just make it like this. And then instead of going up immediately and closing above, it starts consolidating below the value area low like this. Now, what is exactly happening here? This was the balance first, the balanced price where everyone was happy, right? They were trading in that level, or you could say accumulation. Now, when price breaks out of the value area low or value area high and it starts to consolidate, then we are building a new balance. So we're going to have a value area high, we're going to have a value area low, and we're going to have a point of control. So this is the new range that is forming. Okay, so participants are now willing to trade here instead of here. So the way that you would take a breakout trade is first, you wait for price to close below the value area low and then spend time below the value area low like this, where we consolidate heavily. An extra confluence is if we come back to reclaim the value area low, we get a rejection candle at the retest, and then we have a breakout. So does this pattern look identical to you? This is basically accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. The manipulation phase retests this value area low, and then we have a breakout. Now, as soon as we close below this consolidation, that is your breakout setup. So you're going to wait for price to break out of this lowest point of this consolidation, and bam. Now, again, you can look for absorption of buyers at the retest of the value area low level. So what is the difference between this and this over here? Over here, for the failed auction setup, we had a close above on the 5-minute, and then immediately we closed below with absorption of buyers at the value area high. Okay, now in the upcoming videos, guys, I'm going to also teach you how to look at the level 2 data and how to actually look for absorption of delta. Okay, that's something for the next video. My goal here is to make things easier for everyone. If you don't have access to Orderflow, you can just use this. I promise you it works. So the difference here is that we had a close up and then close below immediately. Over here, when we had a close below, we started consolidating. We are accepting value lower, okay? So this has become a new balance. This was the first balance where we had a value area high, POC, and value area low. And now when we broke out, we started consolidating below the value area low, and we are not willing to go back above and reclaim this level. So potentially if you get a retest, absorption of buyers, and then a breakout, bam, that's your entry. Or you can look for aggressive entry here if you see absorption, and I'm going to teach you all of that in the upcoming examples. Okay, I'm going to give you guys examples as well, so don't worry. So that's how you would take a breakout, and price is going to break out. Okay, pretty simple, guys, isn't it? Now, let me just remove this and let me give you guys a little tip. So volume profiles are going to have shapes, and this right here looks like a D shape, right? It's literally a capital D. When we have a D-shaped volume profile, we can expect failed auction setups to play out very nicely, okay? So when we are developing a D-shaped volume profile, this is a D shape, we can expect these setups to play out very nicely. And if we get a breakout, we're gonna get aggressive breakouts that's gonna be huge, okay? So this is like prime condition for you to trade these failed auction setups. Now we're going to have another condition, so let me just remove this, where we're going to have a P-shaped volume profile. And in this P-shaped volume profile, guys, what's going to happen is we're going to have most of the volume to the upside, okay? And this literally looks like a P, right? P letter. So we're going to have, let's say, a value area high, the point of control, the most amount of volume transacted, and we might have like value area low down there. So when we are having like a P-shaped volume profile for the day, the most amount of volume that is being transacted is to the upside, and the buyers are in control. So here's what you can expect with this. First, you can take a breakout setup to the upside. Sorry. You can take a failed auction setup to the upside. So if we have a P-shaped volume profile developing, we wait for price to first close below the value area low, and then a close back up, and then you can take a breakout trade. Or ideally, what you want to see is, let's say price is here, we are building a P-shaped volume profile, and then we get a breakout like this. When we get a breakout above the value area high, right, you can wait for 1 minute consolidation or 5 minute consolidation, a little bit, potentially a retest, and bam. So this gives you bullish bias, okay? The D shape is neutral bias, where you can play both ways, okay? D shape is neutral, P shape is bullish, right? And finally, we have B shape. Sorry, B, okay? So in B shape, the sellers have been in control for the day. The volume that was here was not accepted, okay? That is why it's called value area high in this case. And the point of control is here. So again, we can expect a breakout to the downside in two ways. We can either take a failed auction setup to the downside. That will look something like this. We get a close above the value area high, and then a reclaim, and bam. So this is the B shape of volume profile. So we have PBD, BD, right? That is how you can determine the bias for the day. But now, since we have known how to trade breakouts, right? And I'm going to give you now how to determine your bias using previous day's volume profile. And that's going to be the final chapter of this mini course that I'm creating for you guys. Okay, so let's move on to the bias section, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you guys some examples, and then you can go and test it out by yourself. So let's move on to the daily bias section. All right, guys, so here's how to determine your bias for the current day, which is here. Okay, so how would you know if you're going to go down or up? So you go back to the previous 2 days, okay? Previous 2 days look back. So this is the previous day's New York session. So what you want to do is go here, fixed range volume profile, and use it from 9:30 till 16, okay? And just go here and make sure it's not developing. So uncheck that so it's not developing. So the reason why we use it from 9:30 till 16 is because that's when most amount of volume is transacted, and that's going to give us clues whether price wants to keep continuing lower or to the upside. So that is the first day, and then we can go here and also use the volume profile from 9:30 till 16. So what happened here that gave us the bias for this day, which was bearish, okay? What happened? So let me tell you. Look at the point of control, the value area high level, and the value area low level. That is the balance, right? Now, the balance on this day was lower than the balance of this day. So that means that the order flow is to the downside, okay? And we might be reaching to the downside, a potential area that is to the downside. So this is giving you a directional bias for this day, okay? So we had, the value area high, POC, and value area low here, and then we have the value area high, POC, and value area low here, down, okay? The point of control is down from this day. So our bias for this New York session is going to be bearish, or for the entire day, all right? And also, guys, the value area low, the POC, and value area high from the previous day are also like your key levels. So you can mark them out like this. So if your bias is bearish, what you can also do is like, this is a third model that I also use. You guys might be like, how many models do you have? Bro, this is what actually works, okay? I'm teaching you. So what you can do, if your bias is bearish, you can look for absorption at the test of the previous day's value area low, or the test of the point of control of the previous day, or the value area high. So if we see absorption, and let me see if we had absorption. Let's just go to the 1 minute time frame. So initially, this was the key level from the previous day. We had some absorption, okay? So at the first test, we don't have any absorption of buyers, so we are not taking a short setup. However, here we have green bubble that shows aggressive buys, then we have more green bubble, and then we get a close back below the previous day's value area low. And that is going to be your short position. Stops above the aggressive buys, and you can target pretty much this low down there. Now, for the New York session, ideally you want to trade this setup during New York, okay? Because we are looking for the previous day's volume only for like New York, okay? But you can still trade during Asia and London as well. For example, this is like perfect setup. Look at the size of this bubble. Aggressive freaking buyers at this level, at the retest of the previous day's value area low. So you can see here, aggressive buys, and then we get aggressive sells that get a follow through. So aggressive sells, they get to push the price down. Aggressive buys, they couldn't push the price up. So who's winning this battle? Sellers. So this, around this area where we get like a close below these aggressive sells, you would take a shot, and you can see how price is fucking melted to the downside. Right? So let me give you guys some examples. I've already shown you some examples, but let me give you a couple of more so it kind of builds conviction in your setups. All right, guys, here is example number 1. So this is where we at New York. Sorry, for NQ, right? And we had this first initial setup here, right? Bam, bam, bam. Here, as I said before, the point of control and the value area high are together. So I wouldn't really take this setup because you can see we got a rejection from the point of control. we had one more setup here, but I would still wait for price to close below the point of control. And when we did that, right, you could have potentially taken a short setup here, stops above the value area high, and went for like 1-to-1 quick scalp, something like this, target the value area low. But the real setup appears in a moment, so I'm going to show you. Let's wait for the first 5 seconds to pass so the glitch is over. And so we keep pushing down here, right? We are not consolidating, we are just displacing down. So maybe we're going to sweep out this low down there. And eventually what happens is, if I keep this building up, this is how the developing volume profile is building. So I have my volume profile from 18 and it's just building. Now, over here, what happens, guys? First thing first, we have a close below the value area low. And then we have some absorption of sellers on the 5-minute. So maybe we have more on the 1-minute time frame. Yes, we have absorption of sellers. Big sell bubble over here. No follow through. Notice how we consolidated here. So we were building a new balance here. But then eventually we rejected off it. So if we had a break below this level with aggression, that would be a breakout trade to the downside. But what happened, guys, is that we have absorption on the 1-minute of sellers below the value area low. We have swept this low, and then we have a close above. So this is going to be your long position, and you're going to target the value area high. So let's see how this plays out. Full TP smashed. Let's move on to the next example. All right, guys, here is another example. So we have the developing volume profile, right? And also what we can do is mark out the previous day's volume profile. So from 9:30 till 16, just to mark out some key levels, right? And let's make it non-developing, so it stays around like that. Okay, so what's happening here? We have point of control of the previous day. We get a retest of this. And then for the current day's volume profile, we had a failed auction setup. So we broke out and then immediately we closed back below. On top of that, what you can see is this small tiny green bubble here, absorption of buyers, stepped in but failed. So close above the value area high of the current day and then close below. Let's check the 1-minute time frame if we had some more absorption of buyers. So at the point of control area, we had aggressive buys, stepped in, no follow through. Some aggressive buys stepped in, no follow through. But then on the 5-minute time frame, you guys can clearly see is that we have a close here. So now you can take your entry at the retest, put your stops right above the the point of control of the previous day, and then you can target the value area low. So let's see how this plays out. So we got a retest, and then bam, full TP smashed. And what happened here, guys? Let's just go here. Okay. We may have another failed auction setup. So we closed below, we swept liquidity, right? And now let's see if you can get a reclaim above the value area low. It kind of glitches out, guys, when it's on replay mode. But this is the trade that I actually took, and I posted the story on my Instagram. And clearly you can see we close below, and then we have a close up. We have liquidity sweep of the lowest point here. And that is going to be a long position, stops below the low over here. Let's see if we had some absorption of sellers below the value area low. And clearly you guys can see we are coming from here. We have aggressive sells, no follow through. We push up, absorption, 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 and then final absorption down there. And then on the 5-minute, we get a close, and that is pretty much your trigger to the upside. And I went for 1 to 1.5 for this trade. I remember it, and it would just hit so perfectly, bro. Like, I could have held, but it just kind of like fucking pushed down. And what exactly happened here? Let's just go here. Okay, it just keeps on happening, guys. Like, I'm telling you, this shit is... If you're still watching this, you should be grateful because, you know... So now what happens here, guys? We are above the value area high. We swept the highest point of the day, which is this high. So now what we need is a break below. We also see absorption of buyers. Aggressive buys stepped in at the high that swept this, right? But they didn't get a follow through. So that is a significant liquidity sweep. So let's see if we can get a close. Let's give it like 5 seconds to settle down. The volume profile. It's a bit glitchy sometimes on replay mode, guys. Can't really do anything about it. Actually, it's not developing. Okay, actually, okay, it is developing. It is developing. Don't worry. So let's see if you can get a close right there. We do have a close. That is your close, right? Now, in this case, guys, the point of control is here. So you have to be extra careful, okay? Personally, I would look to avoid this setup because the point of control is here. It's not giving me enough room to basically, go break even. That's just 0.61 RR. However, I could wait for a retest. That could work, right? And that would be pretty much, and you can see we got a retest. So now I would go break even at this point, at the point of control. And then I would target the value area low. And bam, just like that, we hit the value area low. And pretty much easy stuff, guys. And now, I'm not sure why it's not developing, bro. It's supposed to develop. You feel me? It's supposed to develop. So, here's the key rule of thumb, guys, okay? You can take 2 setups max per day for this failed auction setup. You cannot keep on taking failed auction because at one point, price will eventually break out, guys, okay? It will eventually break out. So, maybe it was around here where we had some consolidation, but let me give you guys some actual examples of breakout setups and then I'm going to end the video. All right, guys, so here is the breakout setup example. So we have the developing volume profile. And what is the shape of this volume profile? It is the P shape. Okay, so most of the volume is to the upside. That means that buyers were in control for the entire day. So we can expect a breakout. So initially, yes, we had some failed auction setups. So for example, here, and then we had one over here. But now that we are broken out, let's see if we can form some form of consolidation above the value area high. So now we are breaking out, right? But still we can get a failed auction setup. So you have to wait for price to consolidate a bit above the value area high. You can see we get a retest, right? And then we go back up. So now at this point, guys, what exactly happened here? We consolidated, right? And since we have the P-shaped volume profile, my bias is bullish. So now let's go to the 1 minute time frame, see what exactly happened. So you guys can clearly see we were above this. And if I turn on the absorption bubbles indicator, you can see initially we had absorption of buyers, but then we closed above. Absorption, close above, one more absorption, but then we rejected. We came back, tested this, we consolidated above the value area high, building a new value, right? And then finally, on the 1 minute, you can clearly see at the retest of this level, we had absorption of sellers, right? And then we finally have a break. So we broke out. And then you're going to see that price eventually just goes up. It breaks out aggressively, right? And then let's just go here. Since the volume profile is developing, you can see that we're building a new balance above the value area high, right? So we can look for another breakout setup. So let's see what happens. Ideally, I want to be on the 5 minute time frame. So let's just go to the 5 minute. Okay, on the 1 minute, we are seeing consolidation. And we have another break. So let's go to the 1 minute, see if we had some absorption of sellers. So that's when we consolidated, right? We have a lot of these sellers being absorbed at the lows, right? And then we have this aggressive buy and a close above, right? You could have taken this on the 1 minute if you want to. Stops below these absorbed sellers, and you could have taken this breakout trade as well. So that's going to be it, guys, for this video. I hope you guys got some value from this. This was a bit lengthy video, but I hope it helps. Please go and trade this strategy. I've given you a lot of information on this video, and if you want me to make more videos on this, please let me know. But again, I haven't stopped trading ICT, guys. Don't take that idea, because my goal on the channel has always been to teach you what I know. It's not that I have one model. No, I teach you each and everything. It's up to you what you want to trade. Don't rely on me telling you what to trade. Trade that works for you. Trade something that works for you. Subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.